talking about this, I do think Bones brought this up also, and we kicked around some movies. One of the ones I said was Enough, starring Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
It could be a horror movie.
Domestic violence.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait till we tackle domestic violence horror.
Yeah, definitely, like, we need men's opinions on that, really. We need the male perspective. Yeah, but shall we just get into this?
There's nothing to stop us.
Somebody stop me. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dead Formats, a movie podcast where I didn't fill this part of the notes out. I'm your host, Chris, and this episode we're going to be discussing The Mask from 1961. Mm-hmm. And today I'm joined by two very special guests. They drive Chevrolets, shop at Walmart, never miss an episode of Friends. Greg, Murph, welcome. How are you doing this evening?
Oh, I am doing perfectly swell. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like a real American.
I'm so glad you guys covered Dreamcatcher on your show, the weekly podcast Massacre, because finally someone can get that reference.
I still have not been able to stop thinking about Dreamcatcher. Like, it literally comes up in my mind at least once a day. I was pretty shortly after I finished listening to the audiobook. I think it was, I also watched the movie the same day, but I was out walking around somewhere. Like, I had gone to dinner with some people and then was walking back to my car and was thinking of Dreamcatcher and just truly had this like kind of like beautiful existential moment thinking about it, being like, Stephen King created that. Like, he thought that up and like put that down into a book, and then they filmed that. I'm just like, was kind of in awe of his existence for a moment. I'm like, I was just so thankful and happy that everything came together for the book and the movie to exist, you know?
Yeah, it's, I had it on DVD, so I watched it so many times. It was one of those, like, I fall asleep watching Dreamcatcher. So
that sounds great,
I've possibly seen it more than anyone else ever.
Wow.
Which
is
is
wonderful.
Like, if you've seen it 5 times, you probably have a good claim for that title, but unless someone has it as like their special interest movie, like 127 Hours, where they watch it every day and
I mean,
reach out to Jason Lee and get him to sign one of their copies of Dreamcatcher.
I must have seen this at least 5 times. Like,
That's
once
wild.
in theaters, at least once or twice at home. The 2 times we watched it for the podcast.
Yeah, so silver medal Dreamcatcher watcher, but also, like, I guarantee I was the only person in the theater when I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I was like, that's fucking Mr. Gray.
Steve McQueen.
I've seen it so many times, and I don't think I've seen that guy in any other movie.
No,
that's
just the only 2 things I've seen him in. Yeah.
Looking around the theater to see if anyone else was like wearing a Dreamcatcher shirt.
He's going to be in Pressure, the new movie about the D-Day invasion, but it's about the meteorologist who predicted the weather before D-Day. And I guess he's like the high-up British soldier to Brendan Fraser's Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Yeah, when you said D-Day, I was just thinking of Disclosure Date or Day or whatever. So I was like, is there like a mockbuster coming out starring Damien, what's his name?
Damian Lewis. That's actually a good idea, Greg. We should start writing that to come out, like, maybe before Disclosure Day.
Yes, we can rush it to get it out before Disclosure Day. Yeah, you got it.
D-Date. I like that.
So, as I said, they are Greg and Murph. They're the co-hosts of the weekly podcast Massacre. They were most recently featured on this show to discuss the unofficial Japanese TV adaptation of Planet of the Apes, Saru no Gundam. Our dead format this week is an anaglyph 3D film. This is a type of dead format that I've had on the list to cover for a long time, but I chose to do it now specifically because on July 31st, I will be showing at the Guild Cinema in Albuquerque, New Mexico, the 1985 North Korean kaiju film Pulgasari, presented for the first time anywhere in 3D.
That's awesome.
Absolutely incredible. Whoa.
Very excited.
Oh, and Murph, have you seen Pulgasari?
I think, no, I haven't, actually.
Ooh, boy. Maybe I think pretty safe to say the greatest North Korean export of all time, probably. What else better have they done? Their greatest achievement, I think.
Let's see.
I guess the interview is technically not from North Korea, so...
Yeah, I don't think they can take credit for that.
Famine?
Yeah.
They don't really export that, though. They keep that inside.
Man. I can't remember the name of this other movie that I've seen, so I'm going to look it up. But in the meantime, I will also throw out Kim Jong-il's book on the art of the cinema as one of their greatest exports.
Oh, yeah. I hear it's pretty good. Yeah.
Damn. God, this is going to bug me, so I have to look it up. And the easiest way to find things by country on Letterboxd is to go to your stats, scroll all the way down to the map, and click on the country, because it's the devil we know. It's not a great website, but it's the best we have. A Traffic Controller on Crossroads, another great movie from North Korea that is a wonderful export. Also,
that sounds pretty interesting, though. Is it kind of like a man push cart type of movie?
You lost me.
Okay.
With your Criterion stuff.
Old too highbrow there.
Respected comrade Kim Jong-il is a great thinker and theoretician. That's a good movie from North Korea that I've seen. Pyongyang and Four Seasons. It's okay. Always Working Together for the People from 1994. That's another good one. Those are all the North Korean movies I've seen, so I recommend all of them.
You have to be the preeminent North American distributor for North Korean cinema. I mean, you're getting your start with Pulgasari.
Yeah. I wish I could do that. But yeah, so I'm excited. I haven't seen Pulgasari in a few years. I'm excited to see it in 3D. I'm excited for other people to see it for the first time. Should be awesome.
Absolutely rule.
Well, that's why you're doing 3D, but there must be a reason why you asked us.
Well, I did have something other planned for this slot with you guys that will probably come up later, but I can't remember. I think I didn't go with that this time around because I'm that probably bad. And I've been on a string of not so good movies lately, barring Guyver Dark Hero with Nerds, Geeks, in the Kitchen Sink. Two out of the last three have been pretty rough. So I think I chose this one with the idea that it could possibly be good. But also, knowing it's probably more of a Greg movie than a Murph movie.
So I thought the reasoning was that, yes, it is some old school sci-fi bullshit, which I seem to have a much greater tolerance for than Murph does. But I thought you were bringing us in, for me, for that reason, but then Murph, because he, I think, is a seasoned expert with 3D films. I mean, speaking of
that's true,
holding records for seeing 3D movies, he might hold the record. So I think you wanted his expert opinion on the 3D in this film.
I mean, I recently rewatched The Sopranos again, and I kind of think of Murph as a Ralph Cifaretto, but instead of Gladiator, it's Avatar.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. He is gonna critically injure somebody by trying to play around as Neytiri,
Greg's gonna need an eye patch by the end of this episode.
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, that's why I chose you guys. I didn't even. The universe
subconsciously,
told me to. Yeah.
You put it all together while you were wearing the mask. Internally, you were imagining me and Greg kind of beckoning you or throwing fireballs at you. I don't know which one, but I hope I was the one beckoning you in a see-through dress.
Yeah. So 3D films, they've existed for almost as long as film itself. There was a short film of Niagara Falls that was shown in Anaglyph 3D all the way back in 1914.
Jesus.
It's something that seems to have come into vogue every 30 years, the 50s and the 80s, and then again in the 2000s. We are all three of the age where we experienced that most recent wave of 3D films that crested with Avatar in 2009.
Well, I'd say plateaued from 2009 Avatar all the way to here. I think there's been some improvement over it, but just the general concept of the 3D hasn't changed that much comparatively to the the red and cyan. But I was doing some research. I think one of the first like major narrative movies that was doing it was A Power of Love in 1922, which only really had 2 showings, like one in New York and then I think one in LA for like critics. And then basically just never showed again in 3D. Was released in like the following year in 2D under a different title. Both of those have been lost to time. But one of the things I was researching was that the end of the movie had or there were 2 endings to the movie, depending on which you wanted, like a happy or sad ending. And you would just cover your eye, whichever one you wanted to see, and it projected it in the other version.
That's crazy.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, I thought that was very fascinating. But what I was watching was talking about how it is about every 30 years, but it's almost seemingly when cinema and the theaters are being threatened that we need gimmicks to get people their butts back in the seats. So in the 50s, it's like television's coming out, so everyone's just staying home watching that. In the 80s, it's more VHS and that revolution. And in 2009, it's like streaming is kind of just starting. Like Netflix is there, and they're really starting to push that. Like you never need to leave the couch, really.
Yeah. I mean, you also got the video games have really stepped their game up in the mid 2000s, right? And it's like, I feel like that does coincide with something like Avatar, which is primarily CGI and could be mistaken for a video game cutscene at times. So this is kind of like, well, you're experiencing video games at home that look semi-realistic and like have this kind of shit. So come see it in 3D where you can't see that at home. It's the same kind of thing. It's what audiences want to see that, they think. But yeah, I think, so we're kind of due again for it in what, another like 5-6 years probably. Yeah. We'll see it one more time.
Well, I think it's still plateaued, and from Avatar to
like
even Fire and Ash
hasn't really gone away. Like certainly,
right.
It seems like we've learned, because I remember in those years in the like early 2010s, mid 2000s, like it was such a thing that they were like converting movies to 3D that were not shot. Like I remember seeing that fucking stupid ass Johnny Depp Alice in Wonderland movie in 3D in the theaters.
Yeah, I was about to bring up the post-conversion, and that was a big part of it. And I feel like one of the worst ones was the, what's the remake with Sam Worthington, Clash of the Titans?
Oh,
I also saw that in theaters.
They only had like 10 weeks to do a post-conversion, and apparently it takes closer to like 6 months. But I did see a stat that was in 2011, there were 80 releases of a 3D movie. And in 2019, that was down to 28.
Yeah, so that's the thing is like I remember when it was coming back in the 2000s, and there was this discourse back then like, oh, it's just a fad. It happens every 30 years. It was a huge thing in the 80s and 50s. But like the way it was always presented to me led me to believe that it was a much bigger phenomenon in the 50s and 80s than it actually was. Because like Wikipedia has a pretty decent table of 3D films, and I know that just because it's Wikipedia doesn't mean it's like an exhaustive list of every 3D film ever made. But I would have expected there to be more in those decades. It seems like the 50s, it was basically like 1953 and 1954. There were a lot, but then nothing really. Like, and then the only 3 movies from then that mean anything today, House of Wax, and then the 2 Creature from the Black Lagoon movies.
Yeah.
And then in the 80s...
I've seen the first Creature from the Black Lagoon. That still plays in 3D like every Halloween, every October.
Right.
There's theaters out here that show it. So I've seen it in 3D.
I unfortunately have not seen any of those 3 films in 3D. I've seen House of Wax. And, well, I've seen all 3 of them, just none of them in 3D.
Right.
And Creature is my favorite Universal monster, so I would love to see those. But it's always like, it always stings that the Creature Walks Among Us is not 3D. It's like...
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, also, that movie just kind of stings in general because it's kind of just a bad movie.
It's fucking amazing.
One of the other interesting ones from the 50s is Hitchcock's Dial M for Murder.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that, and I was like...
that he tried to make it more thematic, but there was a quote I was looking at that was like, 3D's like a 9-year fad, and I came in on the 9th year.
Yes, quite astute
or 9th
observation.
day, I think is what he said, yeah.
Seems like he knows a thing or two about filmmaking. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing for the 80s. Only popular for like 2 years. Only ones that anyone really cares about today are, again, tied to franchises. Friday the 13th Part 3, Jaws 3D. So,
oh yeah, and well, there's the mini franchise of Flesh for Frankenstein and Blood for Dracula, right?
Yeah.
Was it just Flesh for Frankenstein was in 3D? Which, okay, I've seen that in a theater, and I cannot remember if it was in 3D or not. I think it was not, but of course, like it still has those moments where it's like, you know, they're holding shit up to the camera and all that.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would love to see that one in 3D.
Much like Friday Part 3, because for a long time, the only way to see it was a physical print of the Anaglyph 3D. So unless you lived by the Mahoning Drive-In or whatever, you just couldn't see it. So,
but that gave us cinema's first 3D joint passing. So
that's right.
Like, that's really high up there. But the 80s, it did make it all the way to 91 because we do have Freddy's Dead that was shot
Yes.
or, you know, done in 3D, which is, I have the steelbook cover here, which is where I got my 3D glasses for this movie that has the Freddy's Dead, the Final Nightmare right on there.
Very similar to the way it's employed, where there's a moment where it's like, hey, the character in the movie is going to put something on, and that's your signal to also put your glasses on.
Yeah, so along those lines, I hope you guys have both seen Ghoulies, right?
Oh, I love Ghoulies, yes, yeah.
So, by the way, notice they oddly put on glasses a lot in that movie because it was originally, like, they started shooting it in 3D, and whenever the characters wear glasses, you were supposed to put your 3D glasses on. But it being an Empire Pictures film with Charles Brand, he was just like, fuck this, it's too hard. But let's leave all of the scenes of them wearing glasses in the movie.
Yeah, we can't take time to reshoot that. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
I have not seen Ghoulies, but I have listened to your episode on Ghoulies, so...
Don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Greg, bring it to the podcast. What are you doing? Come on.
I've been saving Ghoulies for a special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, since you guys can only ever cover one movie from a franchise, it's like he's got to pick. Do I do Ghoulies? Ghoulies Go to College?
We
Which
did get
one?
Really close to actually covering it in October. It was like it was a breath away, basically. I want to say too, I mostly associate 3D with theme park attractions nowadays. Not nowadays, but like for when I was growing up, that's where I first saw 3D things. The first 3D thing I saw has to have been Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, which scared the absolute shit out of me. Followed closely by
because you thought they never rebigged your penis. It stayed shrunk the whole time.
Right, that was the one thing that didn't make it back when I was leaving the auditorium. You know, that really scared me. I saw Tough to Be a Bug when I was a kid, which was like, that is just like, was a torture device for like 5 to 10-year-olds. I don't know if either of you guys are familiar with Tough to Be a Bug. At Disney's California Adventure, they had a special theater in the Bugs Life area, which is now gone. It's been completely replaced by all the Avengers stuff. But you would go in and you would sit in this little theater. Yeah, seriously, it's so boring.
We want
there.
Flick.
Like the Bugs Life stuff wasn't much better, except this thing, which was again just like so cruel to kids. So like you sit down in this theater and it's presented as like Flick comes out and it's a 3D film and he's like, hey, we're going to show off all the incredible abilities that bugs have. And then partway through his show, like showing up like, I don't know, you know, like a bug that looks like a leaf or whatever. Hopper and the other like crickets come in and they take over the show and like hold the audience hostage. And they're like, we're going to show you the dangerous bugs. And they have like all these other bugs come out. The seats would vibrate when they like roaches would like quote unquote run out into the audience, and everybody would scream their fucking, you know, their heads off. And the part I remember the most, because I saw this first when I was 5 years old, when the first year that Disney's California Adventure was open. But they bring out a termite. Like Hopper's like, you know, hey, termite, show him what you can do. And he walks out and he sprays his like acid, you know, acid, quote unquote, all over the audience. And so water jets like shoot at you and like get you all wet, right? I'm 5 years old and I'm being told like they're shooting acid in my face. And I just remember crying so hard, like being so scared. That was the one and only time I saw Tough to Be a Bug. But that was my thing with, I was actually scared of 3D because of those two things, because I was a dumb little coward. as a kid. But,
but that's the moment. That's the moment when Kevin Spacey became your favorite actor.
Yes, that was it. Cemented itself in my head right then and there.
Ants is when Woody Allen became your favorite actor. Right?
I loved Ants. Unironically, my favorite Woody Allen movie. Also the only one I've seen aside from Casino Royale. So, not a large pool I'm pulling from there. But hey, look, I came back into the 3D fold, though, when I saw T2 3D Battle Across Time.
I was just about to bring that up.
Yep. And then Jim Henson's Muppet 3D, or Muppet Vision 3D, which I absolutely adored. That was my intro to the Muppets, basically. So, that's where I usually go to when I first think of 3D things. I think of theme parks. That's what those are for me. I still love Star Tours. That's a 3D ride, Mm-hmm. There was another one I was thinking of that was actually pretty relevant to all this. Captain EO, of course.
Of course. Yeah.
My favorite Francis Ford Coppola film.
I think you gave me the idea to double feature the Hellstrom Chronicle with Tuff being a bug or whatever it was called.
Ooh, yeah.
But I mean, it is more of a spectacle, so it makes sense that they were trying to use this technology in an amusement park. Let's thrill them. It's great with the Muppets that it's, the things getting fired at the screen, all sorts of mayhem. That's what it's really great for. The same with T2 3D Battle Across Time. I do not remember. I know I went to it, but I do not remember any of the actual things happening in Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, but I'm sure I can find it on YouTube.
Yeah, I think legitimately the only 3D, anaglyph 3D thing I've ever seen in a theater was Friday the 13th Part 3 last October. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I got to see Jaws 3D at a theater back in December. The Academy Museum out here, they beat Murph and I to a themed month, and they do 3D December every year, apparently. And so this last December, they showed Jaws 3D, and it was fucking awesome. I have never liked the movie Jaws 3D before, but watching it in 3D was an absolute blast.
Well, in my recent tradition of saying very inflammatory things about beloved movies, Jaws 3D is my favorite Jaws movie.
You know what? I kind of get it. After seeing it in 3D, I'm like, I had such a good time with it. It's straight up just a good movie to me now. Yeah.
Lou Gossett Jr., man.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, Murph, when you're talking about that 1922 3D film, I do love, it's like an extra layer of gimmickry, on top of 3D. I do love that. I don't know if you guys have seen 13 Ghosts, the William Castle one.
We'll actually never talk about that on the podcast whatsoever. Okay. So I don't, that's a movie, huh?
Great. I have the little ghost viewer thing.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So that's a fun one that I think would be really fun to show in theaters, but it's also then you have to somehow, you have to buy a bunch of specialized 3D glasses for everyone. So it's kind of tricky, but I think it would be a really fun thing to see in a theater.
Well, I guess I can bring this up now is that I have seen quite a few 3D movies this year already. I did see Avatar Fire and Ash 5 times in 3D. I did not go see Send Help, although I wanted to see that in 3D. I heard it was fantastic. I did get to go see Cave of Forgotten Dreams in IMAX 3D, I talked about on the podcast, which is a documentary about a cave in France with the earliest known cave paintings.
Another great movie to fall asleep to while Werner Herzog talks about Neolithic man or whatever.
Anything with Werner narrating, it's great. Even if you're hearing a guy getting eaten by a bear, it's fantastic. And then, thankfully, Greg had to move the recording, and so I got to go to the theater and see Billie Eilish Hit Me Hard and Soft tour live in 3D, which is directed by James Cameron and Billie Eilish. It was kind of funny in the movie itself. Cameron is talking about, well, this is your vision, so when it comes out, it will say directed by Billie Eilish, and he was with James Cameron kind of in the bottom. And then at the very end of the concert film, directed by James Cameron, Billie Eilish. So I don't know if it's alphabetical order, but he is getting top billing when it comes to it. And It was fascinating because I knew like 2 Billie Eilish songs going into it, most of the ones that were already in the trailer for the movie. But it was a fantastic experience to, to see something, all of these crying teenage girls in the third dimension. And I had a private screening. No one else was in the theater with me.
Wow.
Incredible.
Honestly, it's probably for the best. Otherwise, you're just the creepy guy by himself watching the Billie Eilish movie.
Right. Crying as it's going on, thinking this is cinema.
So had either of you heard of this film before watching it for this cast?
No, but a day after you told us about it, I think I showed you this, my Instagram feed decided to start sending me clips of it that an account was posting. So, but no, I had never heard of this. I mean, I assumed when you said The Mask, I'm like, oh, we're talking old comic book movies and we're doing, the Jim Carrey Mask.
Smokin'.
Or the Connor O'Malley, The Mask. How about you, Murph?
Oh, no, I had never heard of this at all.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like I'm sure I was just scrolling through Letterboxd and it has a very striking image for the poster of just the giant, very cool looking mask hovering over people. And I was like, that looks cool.
There are a ton of fantastic posters for this movie. I mean, like literally every single one I saw is so badass.
So The Mask is both the first time that an entirely Canadian production received wide international distribution, which I found to be really hard to believe, but it is true. And it was also the first feature-length Canadian 3D film. So pretty, I guess, important to Canadian film history, although I don't think anyone cares about this movie.
What's the cutoff for feature length? Is it like 75 minutes maybe? Because we're just barely over it in this one.
Yeah, especially if you take off all of the Kino Lorber 3D archive stuff at the beginning.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
That's like a decent percentage of its runtime. But I mean, that is crazy to me. I mean, I couldn't believe that either. No, it's like this is literally just like the first internationally distributed Canadian film. It's like, so what were they not even trying to get films distributed before that? Like, I
think a lot of it was just because so many of them were Canadian UK co-productions.
Yeah.
That this was like the first one that qualified.
Gotcha. They still had a little bit of that, too much of that colonialism kind of running through there to like fully say that they were Canadian. Okay.
Well, they just didn't have anything to say.
Yeah, they were busy just like moose hunting, beaver trapping. They had other things going on.
Surviving.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cast and crew, not really anyone you're likely to have heard of, but I did want to shout out our lead here, Paul Stevens as Dr. Alan Barnes. He plays Mendez in Battle for the Planet of the Apes.
Yes, he does.
All roads lead to Ape City.
You bet that I caught that as well. I also want to say that Claudette Nevins appeared in 1975's Return to the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, man, I missed that because I only looked at Letterboxd.
Yeah,
so they
in the
wouldn't
animated
have had
series.
That.
Yep. So
amazing.
Our two leads are both ape actors. Well, I just know the lead guy was a mutant, but yes. Anyway, or no, they're both humans actually. Never mind, because she's Nova. Anyway, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, apes.
Yeah.
So with the last 3 movies I covered, I try to like mix it up and not have similar things one after the other, but I kind of fucked that up a little bit. And there was a weird through line through all of them. And I was like, well, surely this 1961 Canadian black and white 3D film has no tenuous connection to previous films, but it kind of does because Guyver Dark Hero was scored by a guy named Les Claypool, who is not the Les Claypool from Primus. The cinematographer from this movie, The Mask, his name was Herb Alpert, and he is not the Herb Alpert from Herb Alpert and Tijuana Brass.
Yeah, I really had to do a double take when I saw that in the credits and was like, are you fucking kidding? Like, that can't be the same guy, and it isn't. But yeah, amazing coincidence.
So that's all I've got, and I didn't ask either of you to prepare for this, but if you have any off-the-cuff recommendations, other things you've been watching, listening, reading, feel free to give those, and if not, we can skip ahead.
Ooh, let me think.
Well, I already talked about Billie Eilish, so that's out the window.
I guess I will say I did. So the way I watched this was I have an Oculus 2 that I have used to previously watch a couple of things in 3D, most notably Drive Angry 3D when we covered it on our podcast.
I was going to bring that up as well.
Debacle.
Yes. So I busted it out again in order to watch The Mask in 3D that way, and had a hell of a time getting the anaglyph to work in the Oculus. It was way more complicated than I anticipated. I had to purchase a separate app that could do anaglyph.
Had I known that, I could have. I think it comes with the other kind of 3D.
Really?
I could have provided you with that.
Whoops. It's all good. I mean, I managed to watch it, but since I had the 3D helmet on, which was interesting too, that I was wearing a mask of sorts that entered this other realm
Meta.
to watch the mask. Yes. Mm-hmm. But since I had the 3D helmet on, I did just end up yesterday just going on maybe I was going to say 5 hours. It was not 5 hours. Maybe an hour or two or whatever. I was just cruising around YouTube, finding all the 3D clips of things I could find to watch. Because I was like, I'm here anyway, So I did find a fan had recreated he had done the entire opening scene of Star Wars in anaglyph 3D, which has never been done before as far as I'm aware.
Beautiful.
So I watched that opening scene. I was rewatching some of the Phantom Menace in 3D because I, found a way to watch that for a moment, which I saw that in theaters. That was the future of Star Wars at one point, was that they were going to re-release all of them in 3D and then made it through one film and stopped.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't remember if they did one or two.
Yep, just the first one. I had for a long time the special Phantom Menace 3D glasses that they gave out for it. That I don't have anymore. But I guess that's my recommendation, is to go watch the opening scene of Star Wars in 3D.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I did rewatch Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare before this, and again, it's not very good. It's probably my favorite growing up. I don't know why I really love this one.
They played it on TV constantly. That's probably why.
It must be that and Roseanne Barr being in it and Tom Arnold.
Yeah.
Right. Those are my idols growing up. So, which is crazy. So he's a pothead, a nerd, and then he also makes pipe bombs. I don't know what this personality type really is, but sure.
I think we call that a school shooter.
Well, yeah. In the parlance of the time, yeah. But Yaphet Kotto's really cool in it, but I don't understand these characters. He's I get 23 minutes a week with these kids. Who else are you what else are you doing? I don't understand. But besides that, we just finished Fallout Season 2. We finally got around to that, and pretty enjoyable. It had me thinking, though, we're already talking about Season 3. When is there going to be a new game? What's the holdup with that? You would think there would be some kind of announcement.
You are the first person to ever bring up a Fallout game not coming out. This is shocking news to me.
What's going on with this world? I'm speaking truth to power, Chris. That's my role in this life.
I think the answer to that is that Fallout 76 is too successful. They can just milk that for money rather than actually having to put the money into making a new game,
Just keep updating the DLCs, right?
Yeah. I would love to see a 3D theme park attraction of Fallout, though, in the vein of Tough to Be a Bug. You go into a theater and it's Walton Goggins as the ghoul, showing off all the different Fallout creatures and spraying, plasma at the audience instead of acid.
That would be great. You get some red mist in the air and it's jets kind of...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're spraying the audience with jet, yes.
Right. Actually, that's not a bad idea. A Fallout world would be fascinating.
And cool.
A Universal. I guess Universal would be the only one. Disney
Universal
would not touch
did
that.
A New Vegas area. Yeah.
Ooh. Well, when the Dark Universe fails in another 6 to 18 months, we can just slot that right in there.
Yeah. They'll replace all the How to Train a Dragon stuff. They'll just reskin the dragons into Death Claws, and you're done.
The big entrance to it will just be the vault door kind of coming up open. Yeah.
I've never played Fallout or any Half-Lives.
Ooh,
I've never played Half-Life, so I don't even know what it's about.
The first Resident Evil 30 years ago.
Oh, Resident Evil. The Resident Evil series is an absolute favorite of mine. I think Fallout 1 and 2 are absolutely worth going back for. New Vegas is really, really good. All three of those, though, you have to like bust your ass to get them to run well. So like it's kind of a project, but it's not too bad. But worth it. I mean, I think Fallout 1 and 2 especially have such a great 90s retro vibe these days, like isometric RPGs kind of stuff. They're also super fucking hard and unforgiving in a fun but also really annoying way. But yeah, those are great. Speaking of dead formats, those 90s PC games, you know.
Yeah. I'll have DK on here to play Dune 2000 with me.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. Or we'll run, if you ever do a King's Quest game, King's Quest 5, I think is the one I had when I was a kid.
Hell yeah. Well, I don't think I have really any recommendations other than watch The Sopranos again.
Hell, maybe. I'm doing that. Constantly. I just watched one of my favorite. I'm showing my girlfriend. She's watching for the first time, and we just got to the episode where spoilers. A character that is one of the crew. I'll be a little vague. One of the crew is killed by the New York crew because of his personal life choices, his personal lifestyle. And one of the New York guys, Fat Dom, goes to brag about it to Silvio and Carlo.
Yeah,
that is one of my all-time favorite moments. I have watched that scene in isolation on YouTube so many times. I find it so funny. I don't know what it is about it. Just like the rhythm of that scene is absolutely hilarious. Anyway, yes, love The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Watch that scene in particular.
I mean, kind of my takeaway from watching it the most recent time is that Phil Leotardo is really fucking funny.
He is hilarious.
He says horrible things, but just the way he says something like he should fucking die.
Yes.
It's so funny to me.
No, it's great.
I'll just say, I don't think anyone has ever smoked a cigarette quite as sexily as Johnny Sacks.
Oh, God, yes. Each, like, loving puff he takes on a cigarette. Yeah, so enticing. Yeah.
Those big puffy lips.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, also in the vein of Weekly Podcast Massacre, Murph is constantly just doing the Year of the Woody, where he watches Woody Allen films.
Okay, that ended, all right? We've moved on to the Year of the Traitor, which is less problematic, supposedly.
Slightly.
Yeah.
And Greg, of course, has Year of the Samurai.
I had it. Well, remains to be seen if I'll return to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how these projects go with me. But for me, it's the Year of Tokusatsu that I'm starting 5 months into the year. I've started rewatching the first Kamen Rider series, which I made it like oddly the exact amount of episodes you need to see to understand Shin Kamen Rider without even trying. That's how far I made it into it last time. So I'm going to do that, switch over to Ultraman after this, and then fill in the gaps with some random stuff in between it. But I'm going to try to get through those two series because I've never made it very far into them.
Have you ever seen, there's like what are those movies called? I think he's like an even older character than like these movies, but there's a character, the Golden Bat.
Yes.
Speaking of skulls and masks, he's I don't know why he's called Golden Bat, because he is like a skeleton man with a cape, but he fucking rocks, and I've been very interested in kind of learning more about him.
So there is some of that Golden Bat that's lost media. So that's one of those, as a completionist, like I'm like, I can't even start because I'll just never be able, you know?
Yeah,
so that's disappointing.
I was thinking of him a lot while watching The Mask. I'm like, he kind of looks like Golden Bat. Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. So that's what I've got going on. I'm still, I think, let's see, what episode did I left off on episode 7 of Kamen Rider. So decent progress over the past few days. I think it was all spurred on by covering the last film, Lone Tiger, with 5 Day Rentals, which is based off of a manga called Tiger Mask, unofficially.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I've also like kind of been looking at the Kamen Rider manga side by side with the TV show, and I think as a kid I was always turned off to manga because I'm like, well, American, like, Spider-Man's in color and this shit's in black and white, so that's stupid. You know, just like a rat-brained child's opinion of art.
Yes.
Like, this doesn't have color, so it's not cool, but beautiful artwork in Tiger Mask.
All the color was actually tariffed. That's why it didn't have any.
Oh, speaking of tariffs, I have to pay those now on things that I had shipped from Japan like 8 months ago. FedEx is hitting me up for tariffs. So
wow,
cool. I'm glad that I have to pay those.
Is it media? Because when I ordered something from Australia, it was like, oh no, this is like loopholed for entertainment purposes.
So it could have been, I mean, the things that I order are VHS, laser discs, print materials, and then like VCRs. So I imagine probably the VCR is like, oh, well, they're taking American jobs with their electronics that were built 40 years ago.
That's what they put on the line items, but it's just like love robot parts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that, shall we get into this movie?
Let's do it.
So the movie begins with an about 2-minute preamble about masks.
My name is Jim Moran. I have just returned from a trip around the world collecting strange and unusual masks. I think it's safe to say I'm something of an authority on rare masks. Festival masks, drama and religious masks, dance masks, and death masks from ancient tombs. A man's desire to change his face to assume a strange or frightening disguise, to impersonate his gods or to frighten devils, is a desire older than the history of language. I've seen masks unearthed from the ruins of crumbling tombs and masks hanging in exotic temples to ward off evil spirits. But nowhere in all my travels have I seen anything to compare to the power of this mask and the horrible curse it bears. This is the mask around which our story revolves, and I can tell you that even though I'm not superstitious, I wouldn't put it on for all the wealth of the Indies. This mask was part of an ancient ritual so unearthly, so terrifying it has been wiped out of the memory of man. Still, it is a thing of evil. Still, the dreadful power clings to this mask. You in this theater are especially privileged to join in seeing the terrifying sights that can only be seen through the mask. Each of you has been given a mask. When you see the mask put on in the picture, you put yours on too. Then you will share an adventure into the darkest, hidden recesses of the human mind. You will see dread and secret desires lurking in that darkness. You will see things never before seen on any screen. Soon, you will meet Dr. Alan Barnes, who meets his other self when he puts on the mask. Then you will begin to follow the threads that weave themselves into this gripping story. Soon you will see him put on the mask. Remember, when he puts on his mask, you put on yours. It is the beginning of the ancient and forbidden ritual of the mask.
So this guy introduces himself as Jim Moran, and he is played by Jim Moran. I have no idea who this guy is or what he did to earn the gravitas of getting to play himself as an authority on the history of masks.
You think he was just like a real, like, scholar or like some sort of actual expert or something? I don't know.
No.
He's the one they based the Ben Stein character off of from the Mask with Jim Carrey.
Oh, there you go. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this guy, he was on the Steve Allen Show 7 times as an actor prior to this movie. He also played Jimmy the pianist in Spectre of the Rose from 1946, as well as Angus Horse Trader (uncredited) in The Body Snatcher from 1945. Those are his credits.
Boris Karloff Body Snatcher. Interesting.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he gets to be himself, but he also in 1982 wrote a book called The Wonders of Magic Squares.
Oh.
And this is very funny because on the cover of this book, there's a pull quote that says, "No other book conveys in such clear and simple language the eerie beauty of magic squares and the sheer fun of making them." This pull quote is from the foreword of the book. And I still don't know what a magic square is.
That's a lot of circular logic. Yeah.
Yeah. A magic square. I've heard of what, I can't think of it right now.
It's kind of like a Sudoku type thing.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But he wrote a whole book about him.
It's just very funny. He's giving like a Bubba Shrimp explanation of the different types of masks. He's like, there's wedding masks, death masks, celebratory masks, depression masks, mask gumbo, boiled masks, mask scampi,
mask po' boy. Yeah, I mean, it's a very of the time thing. But also it's important because he explains to you the mechanic by which you will watch the 3D sequences.
Correct.
Which is so he says when this guy puts on the mask, you put it on, but also every time he does it, the movie literally tells you put on the mask.
Yeah, really effective nice. And a little meta. Yeah.
Yeah, reinforcement. Yeah. But he actually says, I think it's safe to say I'm something of an authority on rare masks. But he's just an actor. He's not an actual mask specialist.
Authority on magic squares. Certainly.
Exactly.
Cut to a woman being pursued by a man in a rainy forest. She's begging him, please, no, but the man remains expressionless, and he catches up to her and throttles her to death. And in the struggle, the woman scratches the man's face, leaving 4 bloody claw marks.
Pretty cool and weird and surreal right off the bat, for the time to I did it's like a real smash cut from this mask expert straight into this kind of classic chase scene. So it is a little jarring. And then, I wouldn't call this movie gory exactly, but it kind of has moments of vague gore and wounds and things like that. So when you see his face get scratched, it's always a little bit more shocking in black and white in the early 60s,
Yeah.
So that was kind of neat to see. So I think a strong start for this movie. Does it continue at this quality? Remains to be seen.
We're already getting some of my favorite parts of the movie, which is the lighting and the score. I think it looks fantastic, and the sound is just tremendous throughout. There's a lot of the classical orchestral score, and it's used to such great effect here.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a very strong opening. And like you said, Greg, it's not graphically violent, but even just the implication, especially since the victim is a woman, which I feel like in the 50s and 60s, they're always the damsel in distress, but rarely do they actually get killed, and rarely in such a personal way as being strangled to death.
These 50s sci-fi movies, the victims are a soldier or a scientist, a male. That's it. Those
usually are the only people, the indigenous person that the scientist hired to do the actual work.
Yes, exactly. Right. Yeah, their Hispanic assistant that is most likely a guy in brownface. Yeah.
Shout outs to Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, exactly. I recently watched 20 Million Miles from Earth, and I think the one person the creature attacks in that is a random Italian farmhand. It's that's the only people that are allowed to get hurt are the ethnic minorities.
Let's see. The next morning, this guy that strangled this woman shows up in a doctor's office, and that is his psychiatrist, Dr. Alan Barnes, and he's kind of trying to explain to Dr. Barnes it happened again. I don't really remember, but I have flashes of a woman. I think I might have killed her. I think I might be cursed. And
what's great is even before this is he's talking to the secretary, and she's like, you gotta wait your turn. And he's like, he's doing this on purpose, isn't he? He's trying not to see me, right? And the secretary's just like, I have no clue what you're talking about. And 10 seconds later, the doctor walks out. And this guy is so erratic. He's basically hugging himself the entire time. Mm-hmm. He's got this just pouring sweat as well.
Yeah, very, very sweaty. This guy is pretty good too. I really like him and his performance. It's melodramatic as fuck, but really good for what it's going for. I just kept thinking about how nonchalant Dr. Barnes is when he learns his patient thinks he killed somebody.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to really kind of explore that deeper, but he's very reassuring instead.
He's no Dr. Melfi.
Yeah.
No, that's
I was trying to work in how to connect this to The Sopranos. Yes.
Or even Peter Bogdanovich.
Oh, if only.
Don't get me started on that big bottle of water.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, this guy, Michael Radin, we learn his name is, he's telling Dr. Barnes, it's like a nightmare. And, Dr.
Can't
Barnes
you understand? This is not just another case of neuroses or psychosis. This is a living nightmare.
Yes. And I feel like Dr. Barnes is pretty dismissive. And then Radin kind of tells him that it's all because of this mask and just sort of storms out of his office. And later that evening, Michael is in his apartment/rented room in a house. He's packing up a cardboard box and calls his landlord, Mrs. Kelly, up to his room and asks her to mail the package for him. She leaves. Michael admires the things in his room and pours himself a finger of whiskey before pulling out a gun and taking his own life. So again, along with the opening scene, this was quite shocking to me to see in a movie from 1961.
Yes, and it pans away and you just hear it, but again, in that kind of classic, it's what you don't see kind of a thing. I found that very effective. It's the same thing with the strangling. He kills her just off camera, so it's like, it's all implication, and it's pretty effective for what it is. But you know what? It's okay. He kills himself here. He's just going to reincarnate as Dark Raiden, so it's not a big deal.
Right, of course. There's no splatter or anything to clean up. I do think it's funny that the landlady is giving him shit about the state of his apartments, and she's like, look at all these doodads you got here. And then when the cops come and she's talking to him, she's also complaining about the doodads, that they're everywhere.
She's got a great character game, Mrs. Kelly. Yeah.
It's like the opposite of a blender, like when you're upset about something instead of excited about it.
Sure.
Yeah. I think this is whether or not intended, it's more thematically rich than I would have expected a movie from the 60s to be. I think we'll talk about it later. Ultimately, it seems to be like a kind of weak metaphor about addiction. But I think there's maybe a little bit more to this movie if you care to watch it multiple times and think about some of the subtext. And this is definitely a part of that. So Mrs. Kelly hears the gunshot. She discovers Michael's body. We are then introduced to Lieutenant Martin. He and his partner Bill are called out to investigate Michael Rudin's body. He was trouble, him and his doodads and his ways. Mrs. Kelly tells Martin that Michael Radin started off nice, but over the past few weeks he had become weird and isolated, and he had no friends or relatives, but he was some sort of professor at the Museum of Ancient History. And Lieutenant Martin heads to the museum to talk to Michael's supervisor, Dr. Soames. Soames tells him that Michael was working on cataloging items from a recent dig at his home. And so the cop, Martin, he's still doesn't he's operating under the assumption that this guy didn't kill himself and it must have been a murder. So this sort of presents a theory or a motive for a possible murder. If he has artifacts from a museum and some of them are valuable, maybe somebody knew that and killed Michael for these artifacts. So Dr. Soames grabs a manifest of artifacts and they go back to the apartment. And this was very much that old school filmmaking and plot of we have to show you every single step
exactly.
of how we get to A to B to C.
But it's funny that they're just taking the shortcuts of I have a manifest here somewhere, and he just opens a drawer and picks it. It's the first thing on top. He's like, okay, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, they cut corners when it's convenient and then don't when it's, just we have to pad this out a little longer,
Yeah, because there is, I think, later on a cut from him in a car with a woman. And then he's just in a new location, which in a normal movie would not be jarring because we as viewers understand how time works. But since up to that point, they've painstakingly showed us the entire routine of Lieutenant Martin and how he investigates a case. It is a little bit jarring later on.
I guess I'm trying to think what would be a good early example of nonlinear storytelling. What's the Kubrick movie? Is it The Killing? Is that the bank or the track?
Yeah, that's the racetrack robbery. Yeah,
right. But that's kind of told out of order, right?
I think so. That sounds right.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just very fascinating to think about the old school. They need their handheld through so much.
Yeah.
Which is so weird because you always hear about people just didn't even show up to movies until 30 minutes in. So were they really that concerned with the minutia of the plot if they're missing everything?
It's kind of like the Netflix thing where they have to say what they're doing in case people are doing the dishes as they're watching.
Right. Or texting or whatever you're doing. Exactly.
Right. Taking notes.
Yeah. I was just thinking, an early sci-fi film that does play a lot with non-narrative stuff or non-linear editing, I mean, is Rodan. That's the first thing I thought of. It's a huge portion of that film that
Beautiful.
is a flashback.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've seen the English dub far more times than the Japanese one. So maybe you can tell me, like, a lot of the English is like voiceover from Goro. Yeah. Is that also in the Jap? Okay, I couldn't remember.
Some of it, I feel like they're pretty different movie. Tonally, they're radically different. Like the Japanese dub is far more of like a legit horror film, I would say. And I do think there's less voiceover in those scenes, but it's still there. I think it's been a couple years now since I've seen the Japanese one. But that one, the timeline of it is kind of all over the place. Like there's a huge chunk of it that's taking place in a big flashback.
Yeah, I think the voiceover is, it's a controversial thing in films in general. I feel like most people kind of hate it.
Yeah.
I like it if it's done well, and I think in the English dub of Rodan, I like it because it's kind of like, just like it gives it this feeling of like, a bucolic little mining village, but then like some worms show up.
Yes.
And then two flying pterodactyls show up.
I agree. Yeah. No, I like it too. I think the English dub of Rodan is pretty fun still. I like it in English Rodan, and I like it in the Two Jakes. I think those are the two best uses of voiceover.
Of course. Yeah. And post-concussion scotches? What does he drink? Something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So let's see. Yep, could have been a murder. So they go back to his Michael's apartment, and the only thing missing is a mask, an Indian ritual mask, very rare and beautiful, but completely worthless to someone who didn't know what it was. So it's the 60s, it's Canada. They keep saying Indian, which could literally mean anywhere in the world that's not America at this, or like Canada at this point. So it's like, who knows? At the very end of this movie, they say Tikal, a South American city, which is actually in Guatemala, which is not in South America.
Right.
And I think they also say Aztec maybe at some point in this movie.
That's what they do. Yeah.
It's Tikal is a Mayan settlement.
I missed that. I was always assuming the India.
Case in point. It's the 60s. Everyone's
It looks
Indians,
like it could be from
people.
Anywhere. That's the thing about it, is like it's kind of janky and ugly. And that it's just like, well, it's early civilization. That's the best they could do.
I do believe that the director said it was modeled after an Aztec mask, or at least Aztec artwork, which you definitely see like that sort of mosaic type art in
that sounds right.
Aztec stuff. And like, I think the mask design is awesome.
I love it. I think it looks so cool. Yes. I will say too, I do think because I was reading the production of this, they did base it off of like real Aztec artifacts and things like that. So I think they kind of nailed the sort of look. But there is a part later on, it's near the end. We're jumping ahead way to the end. But when you see the other artifacts in the museum where the mask ends up, they do have these like other statues there, that, like, vaguely Aztec looking things. And I did know from a visit I took, I think probably to the Getty Center out here, I don't know, some museum. I learned about in like Aztec mythology. I had to look up his name, but there is like a deity named like Xipe Totec, who is like this like skin stealing deity.
Do you know what other horror icon is based on him?
No, I don't know actually.
Pinhead.
Really?
That is like in Hellraiser lore, that's like one of his alternate names. Like he was the deity that the Aztecs worshipped under that name.
Wow.
But
that's
anyway,
awesome.
Go ahead.
But but I did think there is a lot of imagery in the dream sequences too that vaguely resemble like depictions of Xipe, where it's like he kind of, because he wears flayed skin over his own skin, and like when I guess the dream version of the doctor is walking around with them, he looks, when he's wearing that mask, that vaguely resembles like depictions of Xipe. So like there is some strangely authentic Aztec stuff going on here if you look at it in a certain way, or like I don't know how intentional it is. I don't know if they just thought the mask look was cool when he's in the dream sequence, but it's like, or the weird like plastic mask he's wearing, like, but it does maybe jive with it being Aztec.
That's interesting, because I was thinking of Hellraiser series because of the columns and like the weird wooden thing that Pinhead has in like, I don't know, 3, 4.
Three.
They're all a blur, yeah.
Where he's living in a column.
Right, yeah. That made me think of those because there's just like these columns with arms in them.
So Clive Barker's a hack, and
well,
Soames tells Martin that legend has it this mask has the power to put its wearer in a trance and make them do cruel and unusual things. There are rites connected to the mask, filled with human sacrifice. Cool, I guess. It's like, I don't know. It's only an hour and 23 minutes. I wish there was there is lore, but it's all so vague.
Well, yeah. If he already knows all this about the mask, why does the other guy need to take it home to study? What is there to study at home?
He's taking notes in the weekly podcast Massacre sense.
That's right.
Yeah. It's like the GIMP mask that he needs for completion.
They should be like having parties with the mask, like in Talk to Me. You know, I did think of the movie Talk to Me a few times in this.
That's interesting.
I don't know if you've seen that, Chris, but it's like
several times against my will.
Oh, that's interesting. But yeah, like I did think of that, where it's like that's what should be happening. They should be having mask parties. You know.
Yeah.
Kind of like Eyes Wide Shut a little bit.
I also thought of that when they're with those weird plastic masks. Yep.
Lieutenant Martin, he shows up at Dr. Barnes' office, and Barnes just reiterates what's happened in the movie so far. Martin leaves, and once he does, Barnes opens a package.
Well, as the detective is talking, it is like, sure would help if we knew where that mask was. Yeah. And it's like tapping his pencil on the box that contains the mask. Like, just transcendent comedy from the 60s at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I did enjoy that. Unironically, I thought it was funny. Yeah, so that package that Michael sent out right before he killed himself, he sent it to Dr. Barnes, and it contains the cursed mask. And at this point, we are introduced to Dr. Barnes' fiancée, Pam Albright. He opens up to her and laments losing a patient to suicide. He shows her the mask and finds a letter accompanying the mask. Barnes really wants to read this letter, and he does. And it ends with, "Put the mask on now," and he does.
So yeah, this first time, I guess it does like call to you, but
yes,
he's also just kind of curious because he wants to figure out what was going on in Raiden's head. Like, and I guess there's an element of guilt to it, right? Like he's thinking like, did I actually fail Raiden, or was it the mask?
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. Like you, I did find this to be a little more like a little deeper than what was going, you know? So I found that when I was kind of thinking about this movie again. I couldn't take notes on this movie because I'm watching it in VR, and I did try to write physical notes while I was doing it, and it just came out as a jumbled mess. So I was like, I guess I'm going
automatic
noteless.
Writing.
Right. Yeah. But when I was
tied your dick into a knot.
I mean, that's what I do for when I watch any film. Yeah. But right. I was thinking
to
back
not
on
pee. You know.
But I was thinking back on it of like, if this movie, you know, The Mask, whatever, is addiction, substance abuse, whatever, I could see it being kind of interesting that it's like this psychiatrist loses a patient, which drives him into the depths of addiction, you know, to try to cope with that. So I just kind of found that really fascinating on reflection.
Yeah.
Well, it would be interesting for like the analogy of addiction. You lose a patient to addiction, so you go, well, maybe I should give it a try.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can see it if somebody is, if you're, you know, in the kind of like, it strikes me as a very like 60s scientist, but I'm a man of science. I must experiment and, you know, whatever, figure this out, explore the depths.
He's been telling me this heroin's been real nice and like great. So maybe just I should give it a shot.
Hey, you know, we kind of saw that in The Tingler, Murph. Remember when Vincent Price dropped LSD to like experience that, you know?
The William Castle flick.
Yes. I mean, I thought of that a lot. I thought of, what is the Big Hurt one we watched from the 80s?
Altered States.
Altered States. Thought a lot about Altered States too during this, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, but I kind
of
think
this movie could use Bob Balaban in a bad way.
Every movie could use Bob Balaban, though.
I think that kind of what you guys were talking about with like the addiction thing is kind of what I think some of the unintentional subtext of this is kind of like, I don't know, like therapy without any sort of empathy is meaningless because like Barnes doesn't believe anything that Raiden says. And then he Raiden goes to him for help, doesn't get it, and then fucking kills himself. And then the same thing happens to Barnes later on when he goes to his mentor, where he's just like telling his psychiatrist mentor about like the exact same thing that happened to Raiden, and he also is not believed, and certain things happen at the end of this movie. So I certainly don't think that they were intending that, but that really is the way that it comes off. So it is kind of like parallel to what you guys were saying, where it's like, oh, he loses a patient to this and then he does that thing to try and understand it. I don't know. It's like a half-baked idea because I didn't think about it that much, but I do feel like there's something there.
There is. No, there definitely is. Yeah. I think it's just like, I don't know, when you're dealing with something like addiction, like it is just such like a potent like device and metaphor, and like there's just a lot of ways you can go with it, you know, and I feel like everybody struggles with some sort of addiction, right? Or like know somebody who struggles with addiction. It's just one of those, I don't know, basic human things. So like to see it explored in this way, I think is just kind of inherently thought-provoking. So like, yeah, whether it's intentional by the movie or not, I do get the impression that at a certain point, this movie is just an excuse for fun 3D effects. Like that's really what it is. But in that process, they did hit on something really interesting. I will say, because we're getting into the first 3D segment right here, he's putting the mask on, and like, I do find there just to be in the strange, surreal, avant-garde imagery of the mask stuff, when it's not just the literal mask shooting fireballs at you, there is something really evocative about the imagery it uses. You know, like you do have like, just like, I don't know, like I mentioned the weird sort of like plaster or plastic masks that the people in the dream are wearing.
Everyone's wearing like eyes without a face masks.
Yes, they are.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not able to emote. That's part of it, I think, is that it's all emotionless.
Yes, but it's also like, I'm assuming that the main, like the guy with like the black hair with the mask is Barnes, but it's not really clear. Mm-hmm. You can't really tell if it's him or not. So this is some aspect of Barnes, either his like, you know.
Well, he keeps seeing Barnes
he also sees himself in the dream. Yeah. Right. Yes. But we're kind of following that guy as like the sort of protagonist of these visions.
So it's like the id or something like that.
I was going to say, I think it's something like that, right? It's some sort of inner self. I mean, that's the thing is, there's no dialogue in these sections. It's all just weird avant-garde imagery. And so there is like a lot of different interpretations I think you could have of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it is genuinely really fascinating. Just again, like you're following him and it's, is it his id? There's a weird sense of innocence about that guy, right? As he goes through and does these things and like witnesses these horrible, violence and attacks, whatever. And then like, I don't know, it's very revealing.
Also a pretty lady.
There's also a pretty lady that he does see get hurt quite a bit. Yeah. I don't know. There is this just like, because it is so open, like it does just really let your mind wander. And these segments, like this movie is very slowly paced. We talked about that with like showing every step between, but in the dream sequences, you don't mind. Like I liked spending as much time as we do in the dream. It's only like 14 minutes or something, but it feels like
5
you're
minutes
there for a long time.
Each time. This first one is 27 minutes into the movie.
Right.
Yes. And there's like spider webs, skulls with eyeballs, like kind of like organs, like attached. He's in like a cave and there's like like an organ type thing pulsating on the wall.
It's great set design and it's really awesome.
Yeah, there's
like a part where snakes are coming out of a skull's eyeball holes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's like cloaked figures and a cloaked woman being placed on an altar, fire hands. Good stuff.
Yeah. In general, just like really badass, like heavy metal cover art shit, you know?
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
I will say the 3D leaves something to be desired. I feel like some of the times it's not, what's the right word for this? Like aligned properly. So with the way that they shoot this 3D is having, most of the time it's like two different cameras and then one of them gets tinted one color, the other gets tinted the other. But if they get desynced by like even a couple frames, it really like throws everything off. And it felt like that a couple times where it's like, I'm not getting a real 3D. I'm getting a red eyeball and a blue eyeball that are really close to each other, but it doesn't feel like it's coming at me.
Okay.
Other times it's better, but like some
there
of
are
the
certain
effects
times it works.
Yeah, I was gonna say pretty much the same thing, Murph. It's like when it's a visual effect, like since it's not all in camera, they weren't able to like do the depth correctly. So yes, the eyeballs flying at the screen in particular, it's just like may as well not be in 3D. But all of the other stuff where he's like groping around in the foreground, I thought the 3D effect on that was really well done.
Yeah, I agree.
It's better when there are, foreground, middle ground, background of like those type of effects. It doesn't really work out all the well. But yeah, when he's just reaching through, that's always the best effect of when they're actually like hands into the camera trying to come at you.
Yeah, so...
Or passing you a joint. That's probably, the highlight of cinema.
Or yo-yoing a yo-yo.
Light of cinema, yeah.
So Dr. Barnes has this trip, and let's move back a little bit. So I had a very hard time finding this movie, the 3D version of it. So I bought the disc from Kino Lorber, and that's when I found out why I had such a hard time finding the Anaglyph 3D version, because it's not even on the disc. These 3 scenes presented in 3D are just a special feature on the disc that you can watch in isolation. So the version that I sent you guys that we all 3 watched, I had to just actually edit this together myself from the special features. Yeah. It seems really weird that they
that is strange.
Give it to you that way.
Because I was seeing that there were early 2000s like DVDs of this with these segments with 3D glasses and everything like in it. So it's strange they didn't just like use that version. That's bizarre.
Yeah, I think it has to have been an issue of disc space or something, since they included the stereo. I can't remember what active shutter or stereoscopic 3D, whichever one it was, that they couldn't just fit like another video file, like hour and a half video file. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a Blu-ray, that shouldn't be a problem. I mean, even on the 4K disc that I watched of Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare, like it has both versions, and like you would think there would be a way to be like, okay, well, at this chapter we start playing from here, and then when that's over, we go back. Like that shouldn't be difficult.
You wouldn't think so.
Fucking Kino.
I guess that's why they're not one of the big dogs anymore.
Yeah.
So after this sequence, Dr. Barnes he's wearing the mask. He's on the floor of his office, convulsing. Pam finds him, and he explains that the mask revealed things to him that he had never seen or understood. This mask could be of great value to the psychiatric community. And Dr. Barnes immediately feels possessive over the mask. It's mine now.
I mean, that is literally what Timothy Leary said about LSD, so...
I was just going to bring that up. I mean, it's like we do have precedent for this stuff where psychiatrists fuck around with substances, Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and presented very much in the way that people wax poetic about psychedelic drugs, and not that this is like a vision being shown to him, but this is information that already exists in the universe that he's just becoming privy to via the mask.
He's tapping into some unknown entity, kind of like a Howard Beale in Network.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much the stuff he's all saying is the stupid shit I've said coming down from an acid trip. Right.
I get it. Peyote. Tony Soprano.
I get it now. Yeah.
Pam understandably thinks that all of this sounds insane, and she asks him to go talk to someone he can trust. He says, "There's no one that I can trust. I know that now." She implores him to go and talk to his mentor and friend, Dr. Quincy. He says he doesn't need anyone, and he tells Pam not to tell anyone about the mask. And as Barnes is gooning over this mask, Pam grabs it and runs away and drives off in a taxi. Barnes gives chase in what is surely the slowest and most law-abiding car chase of all time.
It's got nothing in the car chase in Godzilla vs. the Wolfman.
Yes, great one. Pam's taxi arrives at the museum.
Isn't it Godzilla vs. Fantastic Beast Wolfman?
Legendary Beast Wolfman.
Yes. Legendary Beast Wolfman.
Right. Yeah, pardon me.
So when she gets to the museum, she gives the mask to the cab driver, I guess because he's a man. And he takes it into the museum.
Well, she's got smaller legs. It's going to take her longer to run in there.
Lots of steps.
Yeah.
Barnes wanders through the museum in search of the mask, and he instinctively finds it he instinctively finds Dr. Soames' office and begins ransacking the place. Back at Pam's apartment.
No, I do like this, that the POV of the camera is the mask, and at the end of the scene is him looking directly into camera and be like, "There you are, my precious."
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And back at Pam's apartment, she's just casually drawing portrait pictures when she's interrupted by a ring at the door. It's Lieutenant Martin. I thought maybe there's a deleted scene that explains that she's like an artist by profession, but I thought it was very weird. Like, you're acting a bit too casual, Pam. Like,
it's a hobby.
My money's on her not having a profession. This is like the early 60s. I think the idea of a woman in the workforce is still like an alien concept.
I mean, she couldn't have a checking account.
Yeah. It's just how she spends her time.
Yeah, so Martin gives Pam the lowdown and asks her a few questions about Michael Radin before turning the conversation towards the mask. And
this happens, but they come in, he sits down, they start smoking cigarettes. He says, these cools are great for after dinner. She says she prefers to smoke them before dinner to, like, cut her appetite. Like, they show the pack right to the camera. That for some reason, that's in 3D as well.
Yeah.
It's the only other non-mask 3D
a lot of
moment.
emphasis on the new asbestos filters that they just got for the cool lights.
She's got Virginia Slims.
She pretends she doesn't know anything about the mask, but Martin's really not buying it. And she also kind of pretends she doesn't even really know Barnes that well, even though he's her fiance.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, we're friends," and he's like, "Don't you fiance, right?" And she's like, yeah, fiance."
Yeah, I guess so.
And Barnes is contemplating, he's back at his office contemplating putting the mask back on. And he does, because he's instructed to put the mask on now. Mask. Second 3D sequence.
46 minutes to 51.
This one is filled with, if I remember it correctly, is this the one with the spiders?
Spiders, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just one of those moments that's like just a very cheap sort of like, I don't know, kind
generic,
of like
spooky.
Yes, exactly. There's a little bit of that in this movie at times, which is like, I guess it's, this wave of 3D is kind of, that's what it all sort of feels like mostly.
Yeah.
So you got to have some of that, but I do like a lot though. I again, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't have any notes, but this is the one where he does like see himself on the
the altar
bed,
is
right?
replaced by the psychiatrist couch thingy.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Barnes appears in front of Dr. Barnes.
Yeah, is that saying something that we go from an altar to a psychiatrist couch? There's maybe something being said there.
I think there is.
I don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, sacrificial lamb, something in there.
Right? Yeah. I don't know. There's something. But this stuff is cool. I think we also see like the melty eye guy, right? Who Yeah, I think it's in the third one, but he kind of acts as like a ferryman at that point, like kind of like Charon, like the little, the guy who guides the dead down the river. So there is great imagery in all this, and it is really thought provoking, and
especially the jazz hands.
Oh, I love the jazz hands.
Totally.
They kind of do just end up going like, just like doing that for a little while.
There's a lot more of the river Styx thing in the final one, but like it's really in there, and it's I think that's actually like very interesting about like our subconscious and like, is that even life? Oh,
hey, good question. Yeah.
This is the one where we first get to see the masked deity.
Oh, right.
Because he comes out and starts fire hands and fire breath all over the place.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good. He like embraces Michael in his cloak, and there's a little dummy tumbling through the mist.
Oh, yeah, that stuff's cool. That's to close it out, right? That stuff is great. Yeah, fun stuff. I mean, it's like, it is a great blend of like truly strange, weird, kind of thought-provoking imagery, and then just kind of like fun spook show thing going on too, because it's like, you get the masked deity, then it's like a close-up of his face like breathing fire right at the audience, and it's fucking fun as hell, but also vaguely, weirdly unsettling in a psychological way.
Dr. Barnes removes the mask, and we snap back to reality. His assistant Jill is working late hours typing up case histories, and he hits on her and offers to drive her home. instead of going home. The two park and sort of confess their love for one another.
I like that the transition from him hitting on her to them being at Lover's Lane is kind of like the dreamy Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the part of the movie that I referenced earlier where they did away with going point A to point B, and they're just like, fuck it, because he tries to strangle her, and it's stopped only because I think her foot hits the horn, and then we get another similar transition to where he is in a completely different location. So yeah, he's pretty much going through all the things Michael Radin went through. Strangling women, sweating
Withdrawal.
a lot.
Yeah.
And so this distresses Dr. Barnes, and he decides to take Pam's advice and visit his old teacher, Dr. Quincy. Unbelievable. You were one of my most brilliant students, and now look at you, in the same position as Radin was just a few days ago.
Yeah, his old teacher, Quincy, played by a guy that I thought for a second, I was like, is there a chance this is a young Roger Ebert? Of course it isn't, but at first glance, that I thought of that. And it's like, I know he wrote like Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. Like I could see him also performing as a small actor in a Canadian horror film. I'm like, that kind of sounds like something he might have done, you know?
Yeah. And again, mirroring his Barnes's relationship with Radin, Dr. Barnes says Quincy isn't listening to him, and Quincy is dismissive and says, I've been listening for 20 years. You stole that mask. What about the authorities?
Are we not even going to talk about how he's building a ship model in the middle of the night?
He could not give a fuck what Barnes is telling him at all.
All he can think about is the next piece to put on the ship. Yeah.
I listened for 20 years. I put in my time. I have a pension now.
Yeah. So they have a conversation, and Dr. Quincy's like, you're going to put that mask on again, aren't you? And yes, and no one can stop me. And they come to an agreement that Quincy will help Barnes, but only under controlled experiment conditions. And Barnes will visit Quincy every day, and he's only going to put the mask on in Quincy's office, and Quincy gets to decide when the experiment is over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just smart. I think you should always have a trip setter, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Martin and Bill go over the case in their office. It's not important at all, except that the lab technician has some fingerprints that were found in the museum. And Martin still has a hunch about this whole thing, and he goes to Barnes' office to get some fingerprints to match to the ones found at the museum. I don't know anything about the Canadian legal system, but I feel like this typically would require a warrant of some sort.
Yeah, he just kind of casually says, I'm going to go take prints from this guy's home or office. Yeah.
Maybe it's like, if you throw away something, then they can collect it and get the DNA off of it. Like there's no warrant needed for that. So
yeah, maybe. Even maybe it's like the fact that, again, I couldn't take notes during this, but this movie is so like sparse between the visions that just like weird details do stick out to me. So I do remember this is the scene where they're eating donuts throughout this whole scene.
Yes.
That's like the thing going on during this conversation. There's not really a moment where a conversation is kind of like just a conversation. There's always something else happening. Like
right,
they're
smoking cigarettes.
Yes.
Talking about how cool they are while they do it.
Right, exactly. Or there's the ship in the other guy's office. It's just like, I wouldn't call this exciting filmmaking by any stretch of the imagination, but it does make these moments memorable, even if it is just boring dialogue about just like plotty nonsense. You're just like, he's munching on a donut the entire time.
Yeah.
Is it not just another representation of Peter Bogdanovich's water bottle?
Yeah, exactly. You remember Dr. Elliot because of his giant water bottle. Yeah.
Yes. Dr. Elliot Kupferberg. Once again, Barnes is in his office staring at the mask. Pam comes to see him. She asks him why he's so obsessed with this mask. And he says,
said because no one cared who I was until I put on the mask.
He does say that.
He also vows to kill Spider-Man.
Right. Well, no. That one.
No, yeah, right. That's
Batman.
Right. Whoops. About to kill Batman. No, I was just like, I did get heavy Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe talking in the Green Goblin mask vibes from that scene where he's just staring at it.
Could we get Dafoe to remake this movie?
I was going to say that later. I would love for this to be remade. I think you do it nowadays and you fuck around with like 4D and stuff. You add that to the equation.
Directed by James Cameron, starring Jim Carrey.
Sure, exactly. You know what? Directed by Ang Lee, because he hasn't done any like 120 FPS bullshit in the recent years.
That's another thing I wanted to talk about was just all the like other 3D movies that came out after Avatar. There's so many great ones.
Yeah.
Things that like I feel like my biggest cinematic regrets are not seeing these things in theaters in 3D, much like Dread 3D or Alita Battle Angel in 3D, I think would have been great.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw Gravity in 3D, but I think the best movie titles of all time.
Sandra Bullock's heavy breathing popping out of the screen in 3D.
Right. Yeah, that's why you watch it, is the Sandy B of it all. But Piranha 3D, and then again, the
3
best titled movie of all time, Piranha 3 Double D. Come on.
Pretty good. What was the last movie, though, where it was like, the best way to, I mean, aside from the avatars, because that's the obvious answer, right?
I really
Billie Eilish hit me hard and soft.
That's it, I guess. Yeah, sure.
I really think it was Dread, but nobody knew that.
Yeah, I think so, right? I saw, look, that whole special place in my heart, that was the first movie I ever went and saw all by myself, was Dread 3D.
Hell yeah.
I had just got my driver's license, and I was like, I am taking myself to the movies, and I am sitting down to watch Dread 3D. I didn't know anybody else that wanted to see it, and I had the time of my life. Absolutely fucking loved that experience.
We talked about it on the podcast, but I so wish I got to see Drive Angry. And Greg, you forgot the subtitle earlier, shot in 3D.
Oh, shot in 3D. Right. Yes.
In actual theaters 3D, because I mean they use that movie. That movie is so fucking crazy. I absolutely love it so much, but they're using 3D in the most interesting manner.
Yeah.
Of like, again, everything's coming right at you. Like I'm thinking about when he's having sex with the waitress, and there's some guy that like throws an axe, and it like barely cuts his hair, and it comes right at the screen.
The best part though is William Fichtner like riding that truck as he's like tipping it over to blow it up. Yes. That in 3D looks absolutely insane. Yeah,
I'm sure. Yeah.
After Avatar. I'm scrolling through. I'm really not seeing anything after Avatar.
We didn't even talk about Jackass 3D, Saw 3D.
Right. Yeah. I did see Jackass 3D in theaters.
I should watch Saw 3D in VR next. That's a good idea, actually. I can pretend I have a reverse bear trap on my head as I'm watching it.
Yeah. You're just muttering to yourself the whole time. Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun.
I mean, I'm doing that when I watch them in 2D already. So yeah.
Yeah, you can feel the like shredded pigs just raining down on you in 3D.
Hell yeah. There should be a live like Saw stunt show, like the Waterworld stunt show, but it's just performers getting killed in front of you.
Now you just made me think, because we've already had the Paranormal Activity go. And did you see that it's going to Broadway now?
Hell yeah. Good for them.
So like we're going to have a chance to see it, but like a Saw theatrical production.
Could be awesome. Could be really good. Yeah, like in Saw 4, we did those crazy transitions between scenes, like where they like flow into each other, just like actors going from one set to another. Like, yeah.
But much like when I saw the Evil Dead musical, you're going to have a splatter zone.
Yep, exactly.
I'm positive that the people on Broadway that really care about theater are just elated that every show is just an adaptation of a previously famous property. I'm sure they're all thrilled to do Paranormal Activity 3D.
Beetlejuice, Death Becomes Her.
Yeah. Bad Cinderella.
Right. I can't wait till Piranha 3 Double D is on Broadway.
Live on Broadway. Hey, come when we get Sarah no Gundan live.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah,
that's going to be in like a black box theater way off Broadway. Okay,
directed by me. Yeah.
It's just like a Waiting for Godot, where the whole time Pepe is just waiting for that, whatever the main character guy's name was, Goro or whatever.
It'll be a Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. It's just like two henchmen apes, like, waiting
Greg's
to take
gonna
orders.
have a beret, and he's gonna be like Kristoff in the Truman Show.
Yeah, I gotta say, this whole time I've been scrolling through, and I'm like up to 2012, and none of this is like, I wish I would have seen this in 3D, other than Dread.
Yeah,
Prometheus,
that's the last one. I think where it made a difference. I hear that was great. I knew some friends that saw it in 3D and like went apeshit over it. Yeah,
which I just saw it in 2D because I think at this time I was like, I've never seen Avatar, so I didn't see it in theaters, and that's the movie everyone's like, you have to see it in 3D.
This recording immediately.
So having
delete
not seen that, it's like, I can either see this movie for $9 or like $17.
Right, and it was really worth it. Thankfully, at this time, this is the period where I'm working at movie theaters, so if I see a 3D film, I'm not paying for it. So I did see a lot of blockbusters in 3D at this point. I do remember a distinct memory of when Pixels came out, the Adam Sandler movie Pixels. They were doing like the employee screening, like after a shift I was working, and I walked in and I just missed the beginning because I was like closing up. So I sit down, I put on my 3D glasses to watch Pixels in 3D with everybody else. And after 2 minutes, I'm like, fuck this. And I got up and left and went home. But yeah, that was pretty common for me. It was like I would finish a shift at the theater every Wednesday right before the new film comes out. The projectionists would like set it up and screen it for employees. And like almost every single time it was in 3D because it's like, why not? If we're going to watch it, like, and
post-conversion, baby.
For it. Yeah. So I saw almost every big release at this time in 3D. I distinctly remember like Ant-Man, Jurassic World, like, Force Awakens. I watched in 3D, Rogue One, like a lot of these. Yeah.
We haven't even really talked about all of the re-releases that they would do in
Lion
3D.
King, right?
You barely briefly mentioned Star Wars, but like Nightmare Before Christmas, Toy Story 1 and 2 before 3 came out in 3D as well.
I saw T2 in 3D when it did that. It kind of looked like shit. I didn't really like it.
I gotta circle back and say that the main human character's name in Saru no Gundam is Godo, so the title "Waiting for Godo" was right in front of me.
Oh, there you go. Hell yeah. That's right itself.
Maybe we can get Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter to, do their roles again.
Yeah, so Pam's asking him why he's so obsessed with this mask. It's not just a mask, it's a dream, a hope to understand man's mind, what he really thinks. And she's like, I don't want to know, it's evil. And this is where they really start paralleling this mask to a drug. He tells her that he's tried to stop, but he can't, and he doesn't want to. And she says that unless he gives up the mask, she's going to Lieutenant Martin. And
I can quit anytime I want to.
Yeah, I mean, he starts bargaining with her, and he's like, okay, because she says she's going to leave him. So he's like, no, don't do that.
Okay, I promise I'll only wear the mask at night and all day on weekends, okay?
I only mask when I drink. He tells her that he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to take it to Dr. Quincy tomorrow. And she's like, no, you're going to do it right now or I'm leaving you. And so they go to Dr. Quincy's house where they give Barnes a strong sedative. And he and Pam discuss Barnes' obsession with the mask while Barnes sleeps. He pulls out an ancient Greek book all about masks. Masks submerge the wearer and make a new person. The mask has no thoughts or ideas, but it brings out suppressed thoughts.
Pretty interesting. I have, and I know this is mostly what I end up saying on podcasts, but like, hey, this thing made me think of this other thing. But I do think that's interesting. But
it's kind of like how Murph says, hey, this thing that we think is actually, it's Avatar.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, it's all Avatar. But there's something interesting. Sorry, Greg, but something interesting that the cop says earlier on is that the mask brings out evil and magnifies it. And as we're talking, this really does make me think about the internet and like the anonymity of social media, like Reddit or
the mask
Threads,
is 4chan.
Right, exactly. It's like you're able to do whatever, you're able to say whatever you want. And so it's tapping into like some kind of primal urges inside of you to be racist, misogynist, or, just bigoted, basically.
The mask is a Halo 2 Xbox Live lobby for 2003.
Yes.
Call of Duty Black Ops.
It's allowing you to release your true self or like whatever feelings. It is like the lizard brain inside of us where we're just attack the whole time. So I think there's a lot of fascinating things to think about with this being addiction, but also that it's something that's already inside of us that is just like waiting to come out. And reveal itself to the people that we love and like make them. That's why we're hiding it from them, because we feel like if we're just showing them everything that's inside of us, they aren't going to love us anyway. So we're always wearing a mask in general.
This dovetails very nicely into what I was about to say, where I thought a lot about a thing I don't even like, but Damon Lindelof's Watchmen TV HBO series, where I ultimately did not like it, but I did think it had some interesting shit to say, particularly about why people wear masks. That's a big part of that whole series, and it's a world where eventually police start wearing masks, and it's like we get these like masked, crime fighters essentially. But it really explores the psychology behind people that wear masks in a really fascinating way. How they're used to cover up wounds is a big part of it, and it gets you thinking about all the various like superheroes where it's like Batman is a wounded person, but he puts on this mask to hide that, right, and becomes something he's not, so that he can have the strength to go out and do what he does, or it's like Spider-Man is a wounded person, but he puts this mask on, and then it's like, but I thought that series did a great job of really kind of getting to the nitty gritty of like, you wear a mask because you have something to hide. That's really what it comes down to. That's the ultimate sort of truth of it, is that you wear a mask to erase your own identity, to erase a part of yourself that you don't want the world to see, like Murph just said. And so, in a sense, there is like, we're all wearing different sort of masks. But also just like, there's something freeing about that, but it's also kind of like a weird imprisonment where it's like a part of you is locked away when you wear it, right? And I find that this movie, in its very brief runtime, also hits on all of these points, like in a very strange way, often without any sort of dialogue, often without ever saying this stuff directly. Like Murph, you did say that he gets at it with like the whole, it amplifies the evil part of you, but mostly this movie is communicating this stuff just through these surreal sort of images, and
I don't know if I would say it hits all of these things. I think it brushes up against a lot of it.
And that's probably the better way to say it.
There is a version of this where they are digging into the more psychological or like internal aspects of what it means to put on a mask. But I think we're just like, nah, let's get to a fucking 3D section for 5 minutes. I mean, it's not really concerned about any of this.
That is the other side of it, is that it is all just excuses to do fun 3D stuff, right? And creep the audience out. Like,
it is a movie from 1961, so you have to temper your expectations, but...
Right. Yeah, the way I'm talking about it, it's not going to be revealing any deep psychological truth to anybody, That's fair.
I think that this kind of does subtext in the way that I enjoy most, where it's like anyone who watches it will understand what they're getting at, but it isn't like there is not really a definitive message. And I think that's the way that I always prefer it, because I think we're used to, like, especially past 10, 15 years, like you think about sort of the stereotypical A24 movie where it's like either the subtext is it's about grief and trauma and like refuses to elaborate and doesn't really say anything meaningful, or it's like so artistic and obtuse that people have to debate over what the meaning of the film even is because it's so unclear to your average person. So I do think it hits that great balance of like a Get Out, another perfect example. Everyone realizes it's about racism, but the message of the movie isn't just like, hey, racism's bad, don't be racist. There's a lot of nuance to it, and you can apply it to things that aren't even race related. I think this is as good as Get Out. is what I'm saying.
This deserved an Oscar. I think it's very interesting that a lot of this is about the subconscious, but that it's all basically like surface level of the subconscious.
Yeah, ironically, yeah.
Right.
So they're talking about this. Alan's tossing and turning in bed in the other room, and he hears that old familiar voice, "Put the mask on now." And
why would they give him a sedative and then keep the mask in the same room?
I don't know, man.
Fucking 60s.
Pam is just freaked out by it. She probably just doesn't want to look at it. I guess. Sure. So we get our third and final 3D sequence.
An hour and 10 minutes to an hour and 15.
Yep. This is where Raiden, but like the version of him where the eyeballs dangling out of the socket, is ferrying him down a river and in a coffin.
Before that,
I love the coffin boat. Yeah.
One of my favorite shots of this film is just the skull. Is it the skull or no? It's the mask, I guess. And we find out that it is a reflection of it in water.
Yeah, that is super cool.
That is then disturbed by the pole that is being used to ferry them down the River of Styx. It is tremendous. It is so cool.
Yeah, that is great. And that was an awesome moment in 3D too, where you realize there is actually depth in this image going on.
Yes.
Where suddenly the foreground is just the shimmering water in the pole. Like, yeah, that was fucking really clever. That was great.
Good stuff. We got skeletons. We got a giant mask.
Yeah, the really fucking creepy hands that reaching him out of the water, like out of the mist. Yeah.
Well, you got the scariest thing of the lady on the bench, and then you find out she's got a spooky skeleton in her legs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And at one point, the mask shoots out sparkles. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That is cool. I like the mask. I might get a tattoo of the mask, honestly.
Somebody stop him.
Somebody stop me. I was trying to swallow before I said it.
During that Sparks point too, it does like shoot like, I don't know, shards of glass or something too. Yeah. Like, but I mean, I don't know if you guys ever played Star Fox, the original Star Fox for SNES, but that's like the Andros boss fight at that. He's just a weird polygonal head. Yeah. He's on a big monkey head like he is in Star Fox 64, and he just shoots like squares at you, but it looks identical to the mask
magic
shooting
squares.
Maybe they're magic squares. Oh my god, yes.
So Jill appears on the altar. They kiss. The mask deity appears again to shoot flames. The altar crumbles and bursts into flames. And that's farewell to 3D in this film, although it is basically over. So
yeah.
It's sad, you know. We have to go back to 2 dimensions instead of 3.
So, yeah, I've noticed, like, since watching this movie and doing other things involved with 3D, that it takes my eyes a really long time to adjust after taking the glasses off, to the point where even though, like, these are pretty spread out, they really hadn't fully adjusted back to normal by the time the next sequence came up. Like, I would close one eye and, like, things would be very tinted blue for, like, 30 minutes after. I don't know if it's just like I'm old, I'm getting older and I can't deal with it, but
it's getting harder for me too. I remember when we saw Jaws 3D, I remember when it started, my brain just like it launched into 3D too quickly or something, because like the Universal logo was in 3D and everything. And I got severe like eye pain for like 2 minutes. Just like a really powerful like ache in my eyes looking at it for like that time, just because like I don't think I was ready for it. I don't know. I think maybe it had been a while since I'd watched anything in 3D, but it's just like it seriously like hurt, like physically hurt me. And then similar thing coming out of this that you experience, where it's like, yeah, and I was doing it in VR too, so I'm taking off this helmet and coming back to the real world, and I had to like take my dog for a walk right afterwards, and I'm like, things look so fucked up. Like my eyes are I do not feel good, you know.
I typically have a headache with the real 3D for like the first 10-15 minutes as it's happening. Damn. Which I think is nice about the trailers starting in 3D, so like you can kind of get some of the immersion as that's happening. But with the red and cyan, I constantly have a headache as this is happening, and I don't know if the glasses that I had were just great. I had to kind of push them to my face so I wasn't getting like bleed through from the other color
right
as it was happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to say the least.
It's exactly why it's a dead format, and we moved past it to which I did not know about the real 3D of how like part of them are like vertical light and the other's horizontal light. And it blew my mind thinking about that.
Yeah, that's really bizarre.
6 hours ago.
Right. You mentioned trailers, and I just remember because I can't remember the last big movie I saw in 3D, but it must have been something that played this trailer. But there was that Chris Pratt movie Mercy a couple of months ago.
Oh, right.
I remember hearing that was like they made a big deal out of seeing that in 3D.
And we're all still talking about it.
Oh yeah, we're still buzzing about Mercy.
I did watch Mercy, and it's very bad, but I'm sure 3D would have like immensely improved a viewing experience like in theater. I can totally see that. I meant to think about like what trailers I saw before the Billie Eilish Hit Me Hard and Soft tour live in 3D, because there were some interesting things, but like none of it's coming to me now. I'm sure Masters of the Universe is going to be in 3D coming out soon. Mando and Grogu, which is coming out like tomorrow, is going to be in 3D as well.
Cool.
Yeah, we're also excited for that.
I just did want to say, though, I did see like a quick pop-up on Bloody Disgusting that Kane Parsons is going to be directing the Magic Square movie.
Wow. I can't think of a better fit for it, you know?
Right. Fucking 20 years old. He's already, breaking out magic squares and back rooms.
Wow. Dr. Barnes wakes up again and begins screaming for Dr. Quincy and Pam to let him out of his room. He goes downstairs and he has a crazed look in his eyes. He's turned against Pam and Dr. Quincy. He escapes, pushing Dr. Quincy to the ground in the process. Pam calls the police department, but Lieutenant Martin isn't in, and Quincy encourages Pam to give the police department a description of Dr. Barnes, but she doesn't want to do that.
She tells them that's a spicy meatball.
Alan goes to Jill's house again, takes her on another cruise. This time he intends to kill Jill. I must experience the greatest act of the human mind, to take a life. She scratches him and runs away. Barnes returns to Quincy's house where Pam is hiding the mask. He finds her and tries to get her to put it on or give it to him. And he forces her to put the mask on. He's like asking her, "What do you see?" And she says, "I see you, Alan." He begins to strangle her. Lieutenant Martin shows up, karate chops him, and saves the day.
Yeah. Karate chop to the back of the neck, which could potentially kill someone.
Yeah.
Do we see him alive after this?
No.
Good question. Oh,
he did kill him.
Just blew his head smooth off with his hand. Yeah.
Yeah, so the final scene takes place in the museum. The mask has been returned. Some guy's explaining it geographically inaccurately. And we see another young man approach the mask on its pedestal. Clearly,
I like the way that they do
out in
this.
the open air, which is crazy.
Yeah,
I love the way that they do this. Is that he's talking about the mask, and then they move on to something else, and this guy is so drawn to it that he has to leave the group and go back to look at it, and it's almost like the end of Inception, where like he's about to touch the totem and like grab the mask, like, and we cut to the end before we actually see it happen.
The end. A beaver champion attraction.
Thank you for calling this out, because
yes, hell yeah.
As soon as I saw that, I was intrigued.
So that's The Mask from 1961. Thoughts, gentlemen?
I think it's a worthwhile experience to watch. I think the 3D stuff, if you're able to watch it in 3D, is all worth it. I mean, like you guys have mentioned, and I experienced the same thing where not all of it seems aligned, and there's parts of it that just don't work, if they ever did. But the stuff that does work, I think is pretty cool. And even outside of the 3D effect, it is just neat, surreal, trippy horror imagery that kind of borders on being very campy. But with no dialogue, with some pretty effective music, I think those are just great little horror segments. I think if you have this on at a Halloween party, like as like a background thing, then I think that would rule. I think that's great. Between the mask stuff, it gets pretty dry and boring at times. And it's kind of like a very poochy thing of like, the characters are just talking about the mask anytime it's not on screen. And it's just like, well, I just want to see the mask stuff again, But I never like got so bored that I'm like mad at the movie or anything. Like I said, there's always kind of something strange happening in the dialogue scenes, like the cops like just housing donuts, or like the little model ship, or just like the cigarette smoking. Like there's something to be like, well, I can kind of like focus on that while these guys have this kind of like boring conversation about the mask or Dr. Barnes or whatever.
Yeah.
So like as a whole, I'm not saying like, oh wow, I really love this or anything, but I found it really fascinating, and I do think that just because of its like slightness, but also playing around with something like addiction and the nature of wearing masks and the psychology behind all that, I think like you've said way at the beginning, Chris, there is just kind of like maybe unintentionally something deeper going on here that it is pretty fascinating. I thought I know mostly it's me being like I thought of other things, but it did make me think a lot of Jekyll and Hyde as well, and how that has kind of been a really dominant sort of like horror like archetype ever since that came out and became popular. And this I think plays around that pretty well, where it's like, yeah, it's revealing something that was already inside of you but amplifying that, and now it's like whatever thing that Barnes is turning into or like becoming, the kind of person he's becoming, that was already inside of him. This is just revealing something that he didn't know was there, or was too afraid to admit was there, which is the whole thing with Jekyll and Hyde, right? It's like, in a way, the chemical that Jekyll takes is a mask. It's just a disguise he puts on. And Hyde only is just, it's him, but just free of the inhibitions that he had when he didn't have, wasn't allowed to wear a mask or wasn't allowed to like hide who he truly was. And I found that to be a pretty similar thing here. And I think that means that there's all sorts of ways you can interpret Jekyll and Hyde too. People have like, theorized that it's about being gay, and it's like, you can put on this disguise and go and be your true self, right? And it's like in the book they leave it very ambiguous as to what the hell he's actually doing. Right? Yeah, it's a joke. Yeah, my blood pressure medication. I can get a note from my doctor. Maybe the funniest line in the entire series, honestly.
You got any Johnny Cakes?
But anyway, I'm not trying to say like the mask is filled with like hidden gay subtext or anything, but just that like there is room for a lot of interpretation of this stuff.
Maybe he gets upset after the male patient kills himself. Yeah. He wants to kill his secretary and potentially his fiance.
Yeah, there's an argument to be made. Sure.
The altar crumbles and sets on fire when he kisses a woman.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So take it back to Freddy. It's a lot like the Freddy's Revenge of 3D films.
Liberace is in the dream sequences a lot, so
the hands just like kind of float off the chair and start playing the piano.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a candelabra just there in the corner.
Yes, exactly. The camera pushes behind it. Yeah. So I like this overall. I'm not like crazy enthusiastic about it, but I'm like, yeah, people should check it out. If you're interested in old horror stuff, I think you can do a lot worse. It does carry a lot of the vibes of like old, black and white sci-fi that like I said, I have a higher tolerance for that stuff. It seems I kind of just find the stilted acting. I won't even say stilted. I mean, some of it is, but like this style of acting, I just find very comforting, and just kind of like easy to take down. Even if it's a little boring, I kind of don't care. I'm just like, it just kind of sounds like white noise to me, and I just enter a state where I'm like, I'm not upset, even if I'm not enjoying this exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can handle this, basically. So yeah, I like it.
And that is what Greg will say every time when someone asks him, what does that tattoo mean? All
verbatim.
How about you, Murph?
I think this is interesting. I think this is definitely worth checking out. I don't know if I will ever actually rewatch this, especially if you're going to delete it off your G drive like as soon as this is done to make space. I think there is a surface level. I think they are trying to say something.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it successfully pulls it off. I think there is a lot of interesting things that we've already talked about The Mask and like what it allows you to be. I'm also thinking a lot about Kill Bill Volume 2, where Bill has that whole monologue about Superman and that the Clark Kent being the mask of humanity that he wears to hide himself, and the way that he views us as being, inferior and kind of like neurotic. I think there's a lot of fascinating things about that to pull in. I do really love the look of the movie. I think because at this time, you were able to do color. It was just cheaper to do a black and white version. But the lighting, the actual not shading, but I guess the shadows that they're casting in the film are just spectacular. I think it looks so amazing throughout. The score is really great as well. It's really impactful when it needs to be. But overall, we're talking about mainly 15 minutes of 3D surreal dreaming sequences over an hour and 8 minutes of mostly boring, not even procedural, but like we were saying, that back at that time you had to show A to B to C to D, and the fact that it takes 27 minutes to get into any of the 3D version of this, like it is a little lacking. I think one of the things I love most about Avatar Fire and Ash is that beginning scene of Lowak and Nateum flying their Ekrons in, I guess it's like the dream sequence in the Mother Tree, but just immediately you are injected into this reality where Pandora being like the most amazing, fantastic, ideological place you could ever live, where everything is living in like a symbiotic like relationship. We don't really have that in this movie, unfortunately. I feel like it's a very stilted shtick that we're trying to go for of put on the mask now, put on the mask now. And I think there's a lot of interesting things about this, but I don't think I'll ever revisit it. I appreciate everything it's going for. If I would have been alive in 61, at this age in 61, I would have been seeing this 5-6 times in theaters again. Like I would be championing this. I would say this is the way that cinema should be heading. And unfortunately, we are 50 something years like ahead of that. So no, 65 years. Yeah. All to say, I don't know if it holds up, but I do think it's worth checking out.
Yeah, I think I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. I found it oddly compelling. I was pleasantly surprised by not only just like, the 3D sequences are pretty great, but also some of the things we talked about with like maybe unintentional subtext and things like that, which I'm still teasing out in real time and thinking about, which that alone makes it a worthwhile film to me. I think I've said this recently, but it might just be like, I think it was in reference to the Hellstrom Chronicle, where it's like just the types of movies that I'm constantly watching and how they just give me nothing. I'm so thirsty for it that when a movie like The Mask comes along and gives me a little bit, I think I'm like maybe kind of go a little crazy with it. I'm like, oh, this is actually very well written and has elegantly woven themes throughout, because I'm so used to shit like Maximum Surge or Lone Tiger or whatever. So I don't know. I think it's interesting. You know, all of the dream sequences, they're very abstract, and there is no moment of like him figuring out exactly what they mean. There's actually not really even any commentary of like him reasoning out at all. And I think that's kind of interesting, because you would think about it, if I guess to loop back to like something I was saying way at the beginning about like how, you know, therapy without empathy is sort of useless, and it leads to Raiden killing himself and possibly Barnes being killed by karate chop. It is interesting that like these sequences have really no meaning. And it's like, if he's using this mask as a way to empathize with this patient that he lost through tragic circumstances, it's kind of like, well, yeah, like, you know, people come to a therapist with psychological problems. They're not really like a cipher to be solved. They're just looking for help, empathy, like someone to actually listen to them, which nobody does in this movie. It's interesting. I liked this movie. Am I going to watch it frequently? No, but I will. But
you have the disc, like it's available anytime you want to.
I took the time to edit together the Dead Formats cut of this movie.
Did you get the version that comes with glasses?
No, so on the Kino Lorber website, it says they don't have them
sold out. I saw that it was sold out. Yeah,
that's too bad. I would be interested if it was like the original one that they gave out on theaters, because that one's pretty cool. But no, I have, which like
was weird. It would like had a little handle, so you basically just hold it in front of your face.
Yeah, it's like a Venetian
the whole time
kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of cool though. I mean, I like that. I pictured when I saw that they like handed out masks, I was like, are they handing out like full size like head coverings? Like, but no, that, you know, obviously not.
Well, that's what the Instagram post said. It said literal cardboard masks.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't think I shouted out earlier, misleading. But I do still have my Avatar Fire and Ash real 3D glasses from my first viewing of the masterpiece directed by James Cameron.
For a very long time, I had Man of Steel 3D glasses in like that pocket on the back of the chair in your car.
Oh, sure. Right.
Yeah. I'll have to check and see if those are still there.
The last pair of 3D glasses I got, which I can't believe I lost because I actually had 2 pairs of them, but I forget what clothing company, but some company put out a Jaws 3D shirt that was in 3D. Like it's a red and blue shirt where if you wear 3D glasses and look at it, the shark is like kind of floating off your shirt. So I have this Jaws 3D shirt. I wear it frequently, and it came with 2. My girlfriend and I both got this shirt, and we both lost our 3D glasses. Or actually, I don't know if she knows where hers is. I should have asked her. But anyway.
You did make me think. I mean, we didn't talk about any of the, like, you know, comic book 3D era. But I do always love in Gremlins when Corey Haim?
Mm-hmm.
Feldman.
No, Feldman.
It's Feldman.
It's Feldman, yeah.
It's Feldman. He sees Gizmo, you know, like multiply with water, and it's like, no, yeah, it's cool. And he's looking like 3D at a comic. No, yeah, that's very cool. It's very cool.
Well, the reason he's like that is because he's pissed because Stripe tried to bite him.
Right.
So now he's like, fuck Mogwais. Like,
I didn't even think about that.
That's cool, Billy. I wonder if someone's like, I got this new dog. I love this new dog. It's so cool. And the first thing it does is try to bite you.
Well, it's not even that. It's like, I got this new dog I love. And then we spilled water on it and it turned into 6 dogs.
And look, I bet they explored this subplot way more in the Gremlins work print. You know,
exactly.
The extra hours,
2.5 hours.
Oh my God. When you guys talked about that. Oh,
I know. I hope it plays again somewhere here. I mean, that's the thing I was going to say. So, like, Murph, you're saying you're never going to watch this again, but you're telling me if the Hollywood Theater announced they were showing The Mask and we're handing out little cardboard masks to the audience, would you go see it? You wouldn't go see that?
You know, you bring up a good point, Greg. If the Hollywood Theater thinks it's you know, fit to play,
it's worthy,
then I'll be there. I got a membership now, so like,
hell yeah,
cheaper tickets, no online fees, a free popcorn every time I show up.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you don't have to beg from William Lustig anymore.
No, I do not. Oh, and every time I go to Movie Madness, rent one, get one.
Oh, there you
Beautiful.
go. Now you have no reason not to watch all the Planet of the Apes movies.
God damn it.
That's right.
You'll be thanking us by the end. Don't worry.
Yeah, your blood will boil with the heat of revolution.
Maybe after the year of the Schrader, I'll do the month of the monkey.
There you go. Yeah, perfect.
Hell yeah. So, The Mask, 1961. Good stuff. But as with all movies on this show, it's not anything you will watch unless some sort of tastemaker like the Hollywood Theater tells you that you should. A status I've been trying to achieve, but have thus far been unsuccessful. But I mean, I would say it's one of the most recommendable things I've covered in, well, Hellstrom Chronicle won an Oscar, so ignoring that, yeah, this is probably, it's solid. It's up there. It's a top 3 for season 2 for me so far, which is both a commentary on the quality of this film and the quality of the other films that I've talked about recently. But so before we go, I did put together a little quiz game again.
Okay.
And this one is called The Men Behind the Masks. You guys are going to buzz in with your name. I'm going to say the name of an actor or actress, and you have to tell me the movie they starred in that has the word mask in it.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Does that make sense? Did I explain that correctly?
I think so.
This is going to be tough, I think.
So, yeah, I've not been doing well with games recently. I feel like they seem easy to me, but then I realize not everyone is hyper focused on soft drinks from the 90s, and people get 1 out of 20 questions right. So here we go. The first actor to appear in a movie with the word mask in it. Antonio Banderas.
Greg.
Murphy.
Greg.
The Mask of Zorro.
That's correct. 1-0 in favor of Greg. Second actor, Eric Stoltz.
Murph.
Murph.
Mask.
You goddamn right. 1-1. Dana Delaney. It's a tough one.
Who?
Dana Delaney.
Greg.
I'm
taking a stab at it. Son of the Mask.
That is incorrect. Do you have a rebuttal, Murph?
Unfortunately, I have no idea who this is.
This is probably the toughest one. Batman, Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh. Interesting. Nice.
Still all tied up, 1-1. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Murph. The Man in the Iron Mask.
That's correct. 2-1 in favor of Murph. Vincent Price.
Greg.
Murph.
Greg.
The Mask of Red Death.
You guys are fucking killing it. 2-2. Nathan Basil.
Who?
Nathan Basil. It's a tough one, but it's in you guys' milieu.
Okay. Greg. Is there just a movie called Mask from the 80s?
Well, yeah,
the Eric Stoltz one.
Yeah.
Was Cher.
Oh, right. It already came up. Never mind then.
I think that counts as your guess.
Yeah.
Murph.
I have no clue who this is.
This is Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Leslie Vernon, of course.
Still 2-2. Liam and Ryan Falconer.
Okay, so this, Greg. I really have nothing. I was just going to logic it out. Then I realized I can't logic out a title, really, I don't think. But I was like, these sound like wrestlers or something, so like, okay. Nah, I got nothing. I got to just give up.
Before you give up, here's a clue. Well,
okay.
They're babies. They're not wrestlers.
They're babies?
Yeah.
What?
Babies.
I think at this point, the first person to say it gets the point.
Okay, wait. Greg. Is this Son of the Mask?
It is.
Oh, okay.
The baby played by Ryan and Liam Falconer.
Right. Okay. Because I was thinking 2 characters, but no, it's like in movies are often twins, right? Yeah. Okay.
So that's 3-2 in favor of Greg. I think this next one is going to be the make or break. Jet Li.
Greg. Oh man, it's on the tip of my tongue.
I mean, I feel like I have it.
We'll give Greg 3, 2,
It's
1.
not just called Iron Mask, but Iron Mask now.
No.
Isn't this one just called The Mask? as well. No,
I'm sorry.
Black Mask.
That's correct. Do we want to give it to him, Greg?
Just give it to him.
Okay,
yeah.
so we're all tied up. No one's going to get this last one. This is Andy Owen. Andy O-N. Andy Owen.
Andy Owen.
I'll give you a hint since you're not going to get it. This is the sequel to Jet Li's Black Mask 2. The first person that can name the subtitle, which is going to be neither of you.
2 Mask, 2 Black. Hypermask.
No.
Mask of Secrets.
Mask Tokyo
Black
Drift.
Mask 2 White Mask.
Oh, that'd be cool. No, it is Black Mask 2, City of Masks. Which I just thought was a funny name for a movie. So, yes, that was the men
great.
behind the masks. 3-3. Tied. No tiebreaker. You guys are co-champions. You guys did very well on that, actually. You should applaud yourselves. And yeah, that was 1961's The Mask. So thank you guys for coming on and breathing life into this dead format with me. Tell the fine folks out there where they can find you and anything you've got in the works. This will be out on June 1st. So you guys will be heading into your June category.
Yes. So we have just started a new theme. Well, we are a horror movie podcast and we have a new theme every month, new episodes weekly. And for June, we will be starting June. I love how Greg is already embarrassed about it. It's a whole month about...
It's the one I named, yeah.
A whole month about haunted locations.
Wow.
So June 1st, we are going to be starting with... what's this film I'm seeing? The 2001 13 Ghost. Weird. I literally said we were never going to talk about this. That's odd that came up. So... very fascinating. But we have email, weeklypodcastmassacre@gmail.com, both Threads, Instagram, and Blue Sky @Weekly Massacre. Greg is G Anderson19 on Letterboxd, hired_goon17 on Twitch. He also has Substack, gregoryanderson.substack.com. I am Murph and Turf, both on Blue Sky and Letterboxd, so please hit us up. Let us know if no one cared who you were until you put on the mask. If you know any Beaver Champion attractions, or if you think life is better on Pandora, we want to hear from you. And until next time, I think it's safe to say I'm something of an authority on dead formats.
Do you have on one, the podcast? I didn't.
He was trouble. Him and his doodads and his podcast. Yep.
Adios.
See you later.
Bye.
On the next episode of Dead Formats, we'll be joined once again by Chris and Dakota from Two in the Pinku. And there's no point in even hinting at what we're going to talk about. So, the two films we'll be covering are Psychohypnosis Ecstasy Part 1 and Female Criminal 10-Handed Punishment.